If you've been with your spouse for years, maybe even decades, and all of a sudden out of nowhere, they ask for a divorce, here's one thing that you need to understand about your situation that could totally change things. If your partner's the type that avoids conflict and doesn't really tell you what bothers them, and it's hard for them to open up about their feelings, and they probably had a shittier childhood, or at least a childhood where there wasn't really a climate of open communication, this is the type of person that's going to people please you in the relationship or kind of go with the flow and sacrifice themselves for just, the vibe. And over time, this makes them unhappy and they're not going to communicate this to you. So over a long enough time period, they really kind of lose themselves in the relationship and they want their freedom and they're going to ask you for a divorce or separation or whatever. And it's really important to know that with this type of situation, this type of individual, even if they're actively separating from you, if they go get a rebound, or they asking for divorce or whatever, you need to understand that a lot of times, as long as you don't push the needle forward legally, that they won't either. A lot of times in these kind of scenarios, they just run away from the situation and they don't really advance it by, doing their homework, dotting their I's and crossing their T's and getting their stuff back and giving you your stuff back. Like, a lot of times they just kind of leave everything as is and they just run off and try to drown out the problems with, some new chapter of their life. So it's really important that you don't react to this and take them super seriously and then get your own lawyer and then all of a sudden the lawyer's moving the needle forward for you. You don't want to do that. It's really important for you to know that, you can't resist the divorce or the separation. If they say they want it, you have to be complicit and have the discussions about the divisions of assets or, do whatever is necessary to, complete the separation. So you can't be seen as resisting the process, but there is no need for you to move the needle forward simply because a lot of times if you just leave it alone, they'll leave everything alone too. And if you follow my plan for reattraction, you can get them back maybe before the divorce ever even goes through. Notice how a lot of times your ex isn't much of a planner. They're not one for tying up loose ends. They can be really irresponsible at times. And you could see this play out in your own situation as well. Now, if you want some help with your situation, how to pull them back in and repair your relationship, comment or DM the word Benny, and I'll talk to you soon.